Welcome back to another episode of Better Than I Found It, the podcast all things college golf. You're listening to Mike McGraw, the men's golf coach at Baylor University. Today, my guest on Better Than I Found It is former Baylor Golf All-American Johnny Keefer. Johnny's appearing on the podcast for the third or fourth time. Always a great guest on here and was certainly a great student athlete while here at Baylor. But since he turned pro in mid-June of 2024, Johnny's kind of taken pro golf by storm. He's played very, very well last summer. He led PGA Tour America's points list, money list. He won a golf tournament, was Player of the Year. Was able to then earn his PGA Tour Korn Ferry card. And this year he's played in, I think, 20 events, made 17 cuts, something like that, and is leading the money list on that tour as well. So Johnny stopped by this weekend to spend time. We had a team retreat, and Johnny participated just as if he was a student athlete. It was great to have him back. He won a few contests, lost a few contests, but we did a great Q&A with Johnny with our team, and he told them a lot of things he's learned since turning professional. He talked about the hardest golf courses he's played since then. He talked about the things about his game that he's improved that have made him probably a better professional golfer than he was a college golfer. And obviously the intense schedule that you keep. He's played a couple of stretches of 9 or 10 weeks in a row, which is a lot. But he's done really well, and he's actually played in 2 major championships. He was invited to play in the PGA Championship, missed the cut, and then qualified for and made the cut at the U.S. Open at Oakmont. So he's had a lot happening in the last 15 months. And he's done a lot of really great things. But what I love about Johnny is he's just a sincere guy, and he is a great ambassador for our program. Johnny talks about one other thing, and that's the outer facade, which is just a smiling, happy-go-lucky guy. And that's genuine, by the way. But inside, he's burning pretty hot. He's a seriously intense competitor, and he explains how he can be both. So I think you'll really enjoy this. If you've listened to my podcast in the past, you probably would have listened to an episode or 2 with Johnny, but this one right here is really, really good stuff. A lot of good nuggets in here. Hope you enjoy. Okay, Better Than I Found It listeners, a special guest today here on Better Than I Found It, PGA Tour Korn Ferry leader in the points list for the year and former Baylor Bear All-American, Johnny Keefer. Johnny, you're the only one of 2 people that's been on my podcast 3 times. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So pleasure always seeing you and coming up here and being on your podcast.
Yeah, this is great. Well, we are recording this from the Billy, from our clubhouse on our practice facility. You came here yesterday early in the morning and stayed all day long, had a nice dinner with the team last night, and spent the whole day with us in some pretty good hot heat today. But you're here for our team retreat, and I think you did a great job of talking to the guys and answering questions. I just want you to know how much it means to all of our guys and me myself that you'd come back and spend a day and a half with us.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I definitely love spending time with the old guys that I know and then some of the new guys and building that Baylor community that we always talk about.
Absolutely. We do talk about it a lot. And I think that that even though you were here as a returning Baylor All-American and a current Korn Ferry Tour member but you're a future PGA Tour member, which is another thing. But I treated you like you were one of the players. Sorry if I treated you poorly the last 2 days.
No worries. I kind of like it.
Yeah, you did. We did a little running, didn't we?
Yep.
It wasn't warm, and our air conditioning was out upstairs, so this building is a little bit warm. But thanks for being here. Golly, Johnny, it's been, 14 and a half months since you finished the national championship. 15 months since you finished the national championship at La Costa. You were 11th in that championship, snuck in, got that PGA Tour University number 25. Yeah. And I think I'll always remember that at dinner. And I've talked about this before, but I'll always remember just the kind of look on your face when you recognize, you go, oh my gosh, I've got a job. It's been a job, hasn't it?
No, it definitely has. It's been a lot of weeks on the road, a lot more than I expected, to be honest. But it's been so much fun, getting to travel different places. Having status and getting that 25 spot was so big for me. And obviously me, my family, and everyone who's supporting me, including you, are all super thankful and honestly pretty surprised. It's been a lot of fun, and hoping to continue it.
Well, you grow up thinking you want to play the PGA Tour. You play college golf kind of with that in mind. I'm trying to prepare, get myself ready. And everybody dreams that they're going to be on there pretty quick, but it's kind of, you will have been 18 months in pro golf by the time you actually set foot on the PGA Tour full time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
About 18 months?
Right around there.
Yeah. I know some guys have done it quicker, Tiger Woods and a few others, but not very many get their status this quickly. So congratulations on that. I know everybody's excited to watch you play in the PGA Tour, but you're not done. You still have work to do in the Korn Ferry. You're on a little break here, right? How many weeks are you guys off?
Yeah, we're off for about 3 weeks. 3 weeks? And then we have 4 playoff events. So obviously we'd love to get the Battlefield promotion, which is 3 wins in the regular season, to automatically go to the PGA Tour. But obviously the end goal is the number 1 spot.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like you don't think about all these things as you're playing each individual tournament. But when the expectations you had when you played in your first event in Canada, you were already 6 tournaments behind because we were playing college golf. Mm-hmm. And you weren't thinking, well, I'm just going to win this tour. What were you trying to do that first week? Just make the cut, right?
Yeah, to be honest, just go out and try and learn as much as possible. Obviously first professional event, there's a lot going on, and really that's kind of how it went. I was just relieved that I could go out there and play some golf, and yeah, it's been quick. It's gone by really, really fast. It feels like just yesterday I was here, practicing at the Billy every day, and it's been a wild ride, but it's been really, really fun.
Something you mentioned when you were answering questions to our guys today that I think got kind of bypassed or kind of glossed over it was we play Ridgewood Country Club here in Waco. It's a wonderful golf course in great condition with really good green complexes, but it's not long. And if the conditions are good, you shot consistently 63, 4, 5, and 6 a lot when you played well.
Yeah.
I've got to believe that was a little bit of, I know you're a better player than you were in college now already. You've improved some areas, but shooting low on the 2 tours you've just competed on the last 2 years, it's like, that's a skill. You've got to know how to shoot low. What do you think is the biggest reason you've been able to do that on a consistent basis for 15 months?
Yeah, I think some of the things that we did in college, like playing from the red tees and, figuring out how to, make Ridgewood, easier on our golf games and things. So, between making the course shorter almost and, playing from those wedge distances and working on our putting because, obviously greens out of Ridgewood are pretty slopey. They have some good break and, having to figure out and train your mind how to read those greens and continue to shoot low scores it was really important for me. And I think it was really important heading into professional golf where, cut lines were 7, 8 under and if you wanted to contend or lead, it was, on average, probably 6, 7, 8 around. Mm-hmm. So, just continuing to, find a way to shoot lower numbers. Obviously, anywhere you go is pretty important.
It is very important. So we have a game that I call Bounce Back on our team that you played several times. And the game was if you bogey a hole but immediately birdie the next hole, you get that bogey erased. And a lot of kids didn't think that was natural because it's like that's not what you really do in golf tournaments. But I always try to convince you that if you stayed in a bounce-back mindset, that you probably wouldn't string bogeys together. Now, Coach Murphy has come up with a good idea this year that I like a lot. Mm-hmm. We're still going to play the bounce-back format, but you make the bogey. If you play the next 3 holes even par, but it's got to be 3 holes, then you get the bounce-back.
Yeah.
So, you sustain a bounce back.
Yeah. It's more just keeping that same mentality you've got to give yourself opportunities, but you don't want to press the envelope too much.
Absolutely.
You don't want to make stupid mistakes because you're just trying to chase birdies, right?
So when you played college golf, when you made a bogey, it wasn't that devastating. It's not like you moved down the leaderboard 20 spots. Mm-hmm. Okay, the golf you're playing now, you do move down the leaderboard pretty quick. Yeah. How do you control that mindset of not panicking, pushing the panic button when you do make a bogey? Because the reality is you just went quite a ways down the leaderboard with a bogey.
I think it's almost the opposite mindset where it's you understand how important one shot is and whether that's one shot better or just trying to make sure that you don't make doubles. And, saving one shot at the end of the week can be huge. I know I've seen a few leaderboards this year where, one shot can bring you out of a tied for 19th with 10 other guys to, a shot for, possibly, 10th or top 10 or something like that, which is huge for points. Obviously, money's a nice side effect, but, just every single week, you can always think, where could I have gone better with just one shot? And really throughout 4 rounds, it's pretty easy to find one place where maybe you were out of it mentally, or maybe you didn't treat yourself right in the right spot, or, maybe even didn't hydrate properly and could have saved yourself a shot or two. And I think at the end of the week, you really need to, look back and understand the importance of that one shot and staying in it.
Yeah, how important is one golf shot? It's pretty important. And bogey avoidance is a term that did not exist when I was your age. It exists now. What are the skills that you've made better, or the skills you've acquired that allow you to avoid bogeys way better than you did even in college?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest part was honestly like distance control with the wedges and, figuring out honestly how to get it down in 2 putts a lot of times. I like to almost putt like I don't care, where you understand as long as it gets around the hole, it's usually got a chance of going in. So regardless whether it's 20 feet or whether it's 50 feet, I'm really just, either trying to make it or trying to just get it where it's nice and stress-free. I don't really love 3 putts. That's probably the one thing that I hate the most. So, between that and, wedging it well, it's usually a pretty good formula.
How did you improve the wedging? In college, there were times when you struggled with wedges, and I think the length that you had off the tee, you weren't doing a good enough job of taking advantage of that. But you did something. I know you made less bogeys those last 3 or 4 tournaments in college. I know you wedged it better. What have you done to improve wedging, and what could help a young player?
Yeah, I think a big part of it started when a good friend of ours, Mr. Bizup, Andy Bizup, helped me out in college and, helped me get a GC quad, which was really big for me. And, always having that on the range and understanding the numbers that I was getting, understanding what kind of shots, what kind of technique, and just, building the feel with the wedges and really all the clubs. And I think the great work that I've done with my coach, Brian Gathright, is, obviously just solidified it and continued to help me grow in that department. So, it's a big thanks to both of them, but I think a lot of it has to do with just, finding the numbers and hitting it.
Yeah, you spent the last couple of days with our guys. We had a lot of wedges this last couple of days. You mentioned the GC quad. You say you don't go anywhere without it. Okay, so young kids I see at junior golf tournaments with GC quads. How can you be the most efficient? How can you make that actually be a resource? And you say you don't go anywhere without it. Explain that. Why?
Yeah, for me, there's a lot of times where I understand when I'm warming up before a round, the numbers aren't going to be quite as high as they would on the course. I'm usually right around 5 yards difference, and that obviously depends on where I am. But and then even just the help from changing elevation. We've had a lot of elevation change this season between course to course, and just not having to doubt it, not having to do the math myself has been kind of nice. And then obviously, just the continued preparation and feel and just attention to detail that you get with working with those and being able to really hone in your numbers.
Yeah, I think some kids, one of the things we like to do, and I don't know if you're doing this, but if you're sitting there working on distances, Okay. One thing I always tell the guys is make sure you clean the grooves out on that wedge every time. You do that, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, it helps when you have a caddy too.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We don't have caddies in college.
Yeah.
But you do that. But literally, a lot of times you say the number's 87. That's how far I want to carry this wedge. Mm-hmm. And you hit it. Before you look at the GC quad, you need to tell you, you need to do what?
You need to guess it yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I remember hearing stories about how DJ and Butch Harmon did that when they were working together, and how that's kind of how he brought in his wedge game to a elite point at one point. So, I mean, I think doing that, finding different games and competing and doing stuff like that is just always helpful.
It's great. Yeah. You know, you mentioned Brian Gathright as well, and I've got a great amount of respect for Brian. He and I played in the tour qualifying first stage in 1982. We didn't play very well, I can tell you that. But so we've known each other ever since then. A great guy. Describe the relationship you have with Brian, player-coach type relationship, and why is he so good? Because there's certain things about him that are different than some instructors I've seen.
Yeah, I think there's a proper balance between him being a coach and him being really a friend. You know, Brian's a great person and really, you know, drops everything, you know, to help me, and I really appreciate it. Obviously, that's kind of the relationship that I would like to have with a coach or anyone around me in my support system. He tells it to me straight. Sometimes it ain't pretty. Sometimes it is. And you know, sometimes it's just whether I'm being dumb on a golf course or whether I'm not. So yeah, it's been really, really fundamental to my growth and the work that we've put in. And yeah, it's always nice to, you know, hear from him and for him to, you know, take a FaceTime every now and then on a range after a round or something.
One thing he does that's different than a lot is he will go and attend tournaments. He's caddied for you before, I remember in college, but he actually attends tournaments and he sees something that's better than just seeing a video in a screen on the range.
Yeah, there's an importance. It's just like meeting someone face to face versus over a phone call. It's, you know, he places a great deal of importance to see us in person, see us how we play, see, you know, just experience it with us. So I think, you know, it's a really important thing. I think it's really important for a lot of coaches to do that. And there's a lot of things that Brian does right.
He's not the only, you're not the only good player he's got, though.
No.
He's got Mac Meisner, Mitchell Meisner, some others. I mean, he's coaching a lot of really good high-level golfers right now.
Yeah, definitely. He's got a good arsenal.
He does. Well, so this weekend when we were talking to the guys, there's a couple of things that came out of it that I thought were interesting, and that was we talked about your intensity, because everybody that doesn't know you very well just sees the smile, just sees the personality. That's all they think that Johnny Keefer is. But talk about what's inside that's maybe a little different, and then maybe something I told you your whole career.
Yeah, well, you told me my whole career, especially my freshman year, where my heart is supposed to be, there's a dark rain cloud.
You took that in a good way, didn't you?
In a good way, though. Yeah. And I think you've always meant it in a good way.
I have. I've
always been such a competitive person. I hate losing just about as much as anyone would hate, and then times that by 2. I'm a competitor at heart, and I do smile. I do try and, you know, brighten everyone's days, but at the same time, I really just, you know, I want to compete and I want to win.
It's so obvious to me, but the people that outside of Waco or outside of San Antonio or, you know, TPC where you've grown up, when we would have a team practice and there was some sort of competition, I got to tell you, Johnny, sometimes you were pretty cold. Yeah. You were not fun to be around because you hated losing just that bad. And I think people underestimate the competitive side of you.
Yeah, no, and I try not to show the bad sides too much about being so competitive, but sometimes they slip out every now and then.
It happens. It happens. When you left, we haven't even talked about the Corn Ferry, but when you left after La Costa in May of 24, I said, Johnny, you know, we're both busy. We're all going to be doing, but when you have your first major championship, I want to be there. And you called me up. And I wasn't expecting it. It was, when did you find out? How many weeks before? 2 weeks before?
Really more like a week and a half, maybe.
Before the PGA Championship. Your world ranking had gone up to 92nd.
Something like that.
And they gave you an invitation. I'm going, you're playing in what? So I got a ticket, and I don't like flying. Yeah. I got a ticket and flew out to Charlotte, and thank you. You gave me a place to stay. I don't know what I would have done, but it was a blast.
On the streets.
I would have been on the streets. Yeah. But that must have been just like an incredible experience for you to get to play in your first major championship.
Yeah, it was definitely a special week. I mean, Quail Hollow is it's an awesome course, and obviously to step in my first major, and then obviously get engaged at that major too. That was a big week for me. So
I mean, most people would say, "Did you really propose the night before the PGA Championship?"
No, and it's someone asked me the other day. They were like, "Were you more nervous for the first tee shot at the PGA Championship or for the engagement/proposal?" Mm-hmm. And I said, no doubt in my mind, it was the engagement.
Of course it was. Tommy might have said no.
Yeah, that would have been a bad start to the week.
Bad
for
week.
Sure. Yeah.
Bad week. No, but she is a wonderful gal, and I've always told you to hold on her like grim death. She's your last chance, Johnny. She's the one. But congratulations on that. But then you didn't get invited to play in the U.S. Open. You qualified. Mm-hmm. So not a lot of people know how you got into that. Did you have to go through the locals or not?
No.
Because of ranking, you did not have to go through the locals. So you're playing in the sectional, and you were behind the number with a couple holes to play. Yeah. Take us through the last 2 holes of regulation and then a 4-hole playoff.
Yeah, so number 8 is a nice little par 3. It's right around 215 yards or so, and hit a nice iron to like 12 feet, made that putt. Oh. And on 9, I was actually trying to hole it out, just in my head. I really wanted to hole out because I knew it was close to the number, mm-hmm. but I hit it to like 25 feet, and not a very good shot, but made that putt. And then I waited for another 3 hours for the guys to finish.
You waited 3 hours?
3 hours for the guys to finish. So a little bit of lunch, a little bit of I should say dinner at that point, because it was 36 holes, and then we had a 4 or 5 hole playoff, and kept making putts.
Do you remember the lengths of those putts? Because I think Jonas Appel sent me a text like that same day.
Yeah, I think it was close to 10 feet, then it was close to 15 feet, and then the next one was another 10-footer, and then the next one was 20 feet, or the next one was like 30 feet. So, I mean, it was a lot of putts. A lot of putts went in those final 6-7 holes. It was fun. And
then you got to go play one of the hardest golf courses man has ever set foot on.
Yeah.
I mean, Oakmont is an absolute monster. And, I don't know what happened that first round. I know golf happens when you're playing in a U.S. Open, but you were 6 or 7 over, maybe 77?
Something like that.
Yeah, and then a really beautiful second round. I think you had one of the lower second rounds, 69.
Yeah. It was a great experience. I played the U.S. Amateur there in 2021. Had Coach Mikkel on the bag, which was fun. He watched me play that course in not great fashion, but it was a good experience. It was a completely different course than when I played it, just between
way more
the
rough,
firm,
I'm
fast,
sure.
and the U.S. Open rough, obviously very different, but it was a great experience. I loved it. A lot of guys have treated me well, and whenever I have played some of those events, so I loved it.
Yeah, 2 majors. What's one thing you've taken out of there, or 2, maybe 3 things? Because those are major championships. It's a different kind of golf. It's not like you see every week. It's not these Corn Ferry events you've been playing.
Yeah.
What'd you learn?
For sure. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is you don't have to play perfect golf, but you definitely have to play some smart golf. And, obviously being young and pretty much a rookie, I would say that, gaining that experience and understanding that, par is a good score, especially at a U.S. Open. So, going to continue to grind, continue to learn, and just refine a lot of things. Everything's got to be just slightly better and in order to compete up there.
Okay. One of the kids asked you this question today. I liked it. 3 hardest golf courses you ever played. What are they?
One of them was Oakmont, for sure.
For sure.
The other one was Olympia Fields. I don't know if you remember, but I think there was one round, I want to say my junior year, and it was blowing, and it was cold. So that has to be up there. And then obviously, Prairie Dunes when it's windy. It's
Prairie Dunes when it's calm.
It's a different
really
beast.
gettable. But when it's windy,
it's a different beast.
It's a beast. People don't understand. You could miss 8 or 9 or 10 greens in a row and not even hit bad shots.
Not even hit bad shots.
Not even
exactly.
hit bad shots. So those are definitely 3. But I suppose the longer you play, that list will grow of just really hard golf courses. But what's a skill you have now that you didn't have 5 years ago that allowed you to shoot 69 at a course like Oakmont under pressure? Yeah. Give me a skill that you have now you didn't have at that time.
Honestly, I think the skill would be more like a short-term memory. I think I have a really good, mental game. I think I'm, I've done a really, really good job off the golf course of not dwelling on, bad shots or bad rounds, and being able to reset is kind of big for me. I obviously understand that you're going to have some bad rounds, you're going to have some bad shots. At the end of the day, what can you do about it other than try and go fight and crawl back? And I think I was obviously very proud of myself after making the cut, and I would have liked to continue playing that way, but again, that's just how it goes. You gotta live and gonna learn.
Yeah, you're kind of figuring out pro golf as you go, and that's a tough stage to do at a hard golf course like that. They were we showed a video to the guys of you, a recent PGA Tour feature video of you, I think. And there's a video of you, I think you were 13, first time I saw you. It's 6:45 in the morning at Breckenridge on the driving range. Yeah. Driving range is 2-3 blocks away?
Yeah.
And I took that video. Every time I think about that video, I think what they didn't show in the video was you hit the shot, and you look back, and here's this coach standing there videoing your golf swing, and you glared at me. And I wish I'd have kept the camera on long enough. You glared at me like, what's he doing back there?
Death stare.
Huh? It was that stare that kind of scared me.
Yeah, it scared you.
But that stare right there, I knew from that day on that I would figure out a way to recruit you to Baylor. I didn't realize you were an athlete. I didn't realize you were a lacrosse player. I didn't know anything about you. But you were more at that time, way more a lacrosse player than you were a golfer.
I didn't know anything about you either, so it's
but who is this man?
Yeah, it's like, who's this old guy?
Who is he filming me, my golf swing?
Butler University.
You thought it was Butler?
Yeah.
Okay, doggone it. Well, anyway, but it's been, that's been a lot of years. That's been over 10 and a half years. And a lot has happened. Is that hard to believe? Over 10 and a half years?
That is hard to believe.
That is hard to believe.
It's crazy.
It is. But, in this time, obviously, we've always been proud of you. I've always been totally proud of you, even in the bad times when you didn't play well. But for the last 15 months, you've started to garner the attention of national media, of other players on the PGA Tour. People notice, I mean, this kid, he's an up-and-coming player. There's no doubt about it. That's got to feel good, obviously. But I read to you a text today that Spencer Levine, who I absolutely love Spencer Levine. Don't you as well?
Yeah, he's a gem. He's awesome.
He is one of the true great stories in golf. And he darn near won this year on the Korn Ferry. He won a couple of years ago on the Korn Ferry. He's still a good player. But I texted him right after you, I think, won your first or second event. I don't even remember when it was. But I knew you'd played with him at Wichita in the final round. And I said, so what do you think of old Johnny Keefer? And he said, that boy's got it. He said, anytime anybody asks me, give me an up-and-coming player that we need to look at, he says, I say Johnny Keefer every time. He said, final thing he said was, even without the length off the tee, he'd be a great player, but he's got the length. So he's going to be he's going to have the skills to be a top-ranked player at some point in time. All right. Now you don't want to hear that. I mean, you don't need to hear that, but it's like, what does it feel like when a really experienced veteran, he just plays with you one round of golf and goes, okay, I get it.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. It's a great feeling. Obviously, it's a little bit of validation. It's hard to say that I'm not proud of myself and proud of my team for all the hard work we've kind of done and put together. And, to hear from Spencer and hear from some of these other guys that, are very experienced and truly great players, it's really awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you something you don't know right now. Your dad called me after your first Korn Ferry victory, and he was very emotional on the call. And I thought, what is going on? Did he tell you about this call or no? He did not. He had a hard time gathering himself, I'm telling you. It was rough. And finally he got his words out, and he said, Coach, I just want you to know, I want to thank you for the young men you surrounded my son with. And I said, well, absolutely, Johnny. He said, no, you don't understand. You put the right kids right teammates, right team members around my son, it helped him grow. So let's talk about a couple of those, 2 or 3 or 4 of those guys. I mean, the 3 freshmen you came in with, Scout McNeely, who's just absolutely killing it as a caddy for his brother Maverick.
That's awesome, yeah.
Luke Dossie, who's doing the absolute same thing for his brother Cooper, and Tyler Eisenhart, one of the great dudes of all times.
Yeah.
I surrounded you with some amazing freshman teammates.
Yeah, there's some groomsmen there.
There are some groomsmen there, yeah.
No, Luke Dossie, obviously, you know, getting to room with him for the 5 years and just seeing his work ethic and his discipline was, you know, second to not many.
I mean, that guy was so disciplined.
Yeah, it was
I brought this stat out yesterday about Luke. Mm-hmm. Twice in his 5-year career, but twice he had a different tournament with only 3 Tiger Fives the whole week.
It's impressive. Yeah,
it's hard to do.
It's really hard to do.
He was a disciplined guy.
No, and he's an incredible person too, and obviously still a really great friend. I love to see him on the road. Obviously, him caddying for Cooper is pretty awesome. Pretty cool to see.
I think he's really helping Cooper.
I do too. And obviously, Scout's, you know, he's a unique but awesome guy. One of my best friends. I text him all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, that's another person that I look up to, even though he's 2 years younger than me.
He really is. He's the youngest kid I ever coached in college.
But he, you know, yeah, he's again super disciplined. You know, always gonna tell me if I'm right or wrong. He's never gonna lie to me, and you know, he's just a great person. And then Tyler Eisenhart, one of my favorites. He's an absolute gem. You know, anytime, you know, Ty was always there for me. We would have a lot of long nights at the Billy, just, you know, grinding, practicing, from freshman year all the way to senior year. In our 5th year together, you know, me, Scout, and Ty all had a nice run in our house and really enjoyed ourselves, but, you know, got our hard work in, and yeah, they're going to be friends for life.
They will be. And, you know, coaches, as much as we want to see you go out and chase your dreams, graduation day is no fun for us because you're leaving.
Yeah.
But it was really, really great to see you guys. And that phone call, your dad could have sent a check for $100 million for the program, and it would not have meant as much to me. He really couldn't. I mean, that was really, because your dad comes across as pretty tough, rugged exterior, all that. But for him, he understood, if you get the right people around you, but that accentuates why it's so important for you to have the right people in your circle, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's one of the most important things, and why I've had a successful career is because I feel like I've surrounded myself with all the right people so far.
Talk about your caddy.
My caddy, Joe Mushong. He's a great guy. He's a great player. He played at Morehead State.
Yep.
And he started off on the bag for Josh Teeter, who's, you know...
He won this year, didn't he?
He won in Panama against me.
Yeah,
I got
sorry
second.
About that. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
No, Josh is awesome.
He's a great veteran. He's a great veteran.
He's helped me a lot as well, between just, lightening the mood and joking around, and then also just, sincere questions that I had. Joe started on his bag for the Korn Ferry season, and they got promoted to the PGA. Josh got his card, and then last year, Josh struggled a little bit and wanted to change things up, and I thought, hey, this guy's got experience on both tours. Why not try and ask him to caddy for me? And it's been, smooth sailing, and it's obviously really good to see Josh playing well, which is, awesome to see him on the lead, or on the, points list. And, I think Joe and I have made a pretty solid team.
Has anybody on the PGA Tour reached out to you? Or have you run into guys that talk to you, say, hey, great playing, good job, that type of thing?
So actually this was pretty cool. Sahith Thigala came up to me in Napa after the
finished 13th there.
After the Canada event. And this was before the week started. And he came up to me and congratulated me on a good season over in Americas. Same with Joe Highsmith and some of these other guys, a lot of the Pepperdine guys.
There we go.
But it's really cool to see that they're watching and they're seeing between Americas, between Korn Ferry, they're watching and they know who's coming up, and obviously want to build some relationships and create some friendships out there. And but at the same time, I'm really excited to go compete against them.
Yeah, you are, and you're going to be out there next year. But you still have the playoffs coming up, which is important. So I'm going to ask this question: Are you thinking really, really big? What are you thinking? Like, what do you think you can do with this game? Could you be a Ryder Cup? Could you be number one in the world? Could you win multiple tournaments on the PGA Tour?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility, right? There's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up, and there's a lot of things that need to be improved, but, the goals are high. I haven't reached that far yet. I like to kind of stay where my feet are. That's kind of always been my big thing is, focus on the next tournament and focus on the next event and next shot and, put my heart into everything and see where it takes me.
I think it's going to take you a long way. One of the questions I asked you was what your most memorable moment in the last 15 months was, and I figured it would be a victory. I figured it would be, something, and it was something very, very surprising. I didn't. Yeah. Tell me about this.
So I had a long few stretches, and one of the longer stretches that I had was between Savannah all the way through. Trying to think another event, but it was right around 10 weeks. Around 10 weeks. And the only event that I was allowed to take off or was going to take off was one that I was sick for the entire time. Mm-hmm. So I was still not feeling good. And then I head to the PGA Championship, which is mentally taxing. Obviously between the engagement, between having to learn the PGA Championship course at Quail Hollow.
You lost 9 or 10 pounds of at least water weight before
that. Still recovering from sickness, and I was really beat down, really tired. The swing wasn't in the greatest of shapes. This was the longest stretch that I'd ever had in my professional career. And then, I head out to Knoxville the next week, and the swing's not feeling good. I'm not feeling very good. So I decide to take Monday off like I usually do. And then Tuesday comes around, and Tuesday doesn't feel very good, so I'm like, all right, maybe look at Wednesday. And I think Wednesday the most I did was just kind of chip and then kind of see the course a little bit, and just walked around and played half of it blind and didn't know much. And I head out to Knoxville, and then I kind of grind it out, stick it to the end, and right on the 18th hole, I forced a playoff by making a 60-footer from the back edge of the green. And I thought that was one of the coolest moments for me is, obviously I didn't have my best game, but I was able to, stick it out and, kind of fight through, between the fatigue from just playing a lot, still recovering a little bit from the sickness and, the weight that I lost a little bit there, and just, not having my best game too. And I thought I was really proud of my caddy for, kind of picking up the extra slack and walking the course a little bit extra. And, I thought it was a really cool, really, really awesome moment for us.
Yeah. You think about it, that you're not playing well. So the temptation is to do more. Mm-hmm, yeah. And thankfully, you were sick. So
honestly, pretty well rested after and got to start, the week. Obviously the fatigue still catches up to you, but, I think it was really important for me to take those few days off and rest a little bit. And it's just one of those cool things.
That's awesome. Well, Johnny, I don't want to keep you much longer. You got to get on the road, and wish you the best. Taking a couple more weeks off here, and the very best in the playoff season. And then do you have any idea where you'll start the PGA Tour?
No idea.
No idea. That's in the future too.
Yeah, that's in the future.
Can't get past these 4 events.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Johnny, congratulations. Thanks for joining us this last couple of days. You've been amazing. And sick and bears, why don't you?
Sick and bears.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, John.